watching from. I am Adenike Shokumbi. Welcome to Financial Clinic. I'm so excited to be hosting you at the Financial Clinic today. Perhaps you're joining us for the very first time and you're wondering what the Financial Clinic is about. Money, 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 like I usually say, and money conversations is what we're about at the Financial Clinic. The Financial Clinic is a clinic. Yes, you heard me right. It's a clinic for your finances. We explore the world of money. We demystify complex financial concept into simple, practicable, actionable steps and strategies that you can actually engage for your financial freedom, right? And so if this feels like a channel or sounds like a channel that you want to be part of, want to be part of this community, please do well to give us a thumbs up. Yes, hit the notification button so that anytime that we have a new video up, you'll be notified. And also do well to subscribe to our channel. We also love to hear from you. We would love to connect with you. Also do well to leave us a comment in the comment section and we'll connect with you. Thank you once again for joining us and welcome to the Financial Clinic. As with every other Thursday, we have yet another um, sizzling topic on the table for dissecting and trust. We do an amazing job at the Financial Clinic. And so to begin today, I would like to ask two questions. Yes, I would like to ask us two questions. And then the first one would be, have you ever felt like we were pouring out of empty, like pouring out of an empty cup? Have you ever felt like you're pouring out of an empty cup when it comes to your finances? And I'll give you a second to think about that and, answer in your mind. Have you ever felt like you're pouring from an empty cup when it comes to your finances? I'm going to answer that question for myself in the affirmative. Yes, 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 and yes. And multiple yeses because I have actually found myself in that situation in the past multiple times, times without number. And then let's move on to the second question. My second question will be, are you tired of the version of you that is perpetually broke and broken? Are you tired of the version of you that is perpetually broke and broken? And I'm asking that question, because if you're not tired, there's really nothing that we can do to remedy the situation for you. Because I got to a point in my own life in the past when I got tired of being financially drained. It's actually very exhausting. It's actually very exhausting. Even though I came up with reasons, to want to still continue that, putting myself in a situation where I'm being drained financially. I saw that it wasn't sustainable. And so I got fed up. I got fed up and decided I am not going to continue with this, with this lifestyle as it has to do with my finances anymore. But it wasn't just enough for me to just say, oh, I'm fed up. But it was actually the starting point. And then I had to now look for ways, to block whatever is it that was responsible for the financial energy leak that was happening, that was leading to my energy depletion as it has to do with my finances. So are you tired? Because you have to really be tired of being broke and broken consistently just because of, some financial actions, that you are taking that you may not even be aware of. So today at the Financial Clinic, we're going to be looking at, how we can actually reclaim our financial energy, how you can reclaim your financial energy. But honestly, there's no way that we can talk about reclaiming our financial energy without first looking at what, are those things that are draining your financial energy in the first place. It's just like, oh, you live in an apartment alone and then you go to the tap in the morning, you fetch a bucket of water, and then you go back to the bucket of water an hour later and then it's empty. You won't just go to the bathroom and fetch another water. You want to find out, what's happening, at least before you put another, before you fetch another water in the bucket. You want to be sure that, oh, this bucket can really hold water. So you want to check the bucket and see if nothing is leaking. And so when it comes to our finances, there is no way that we can actually reclaim our financial energy without looking at those things that are actually depleting our financial energy. And so, what are those things that are depleting your financial energy? I put it as a question to you. And you can also answer in your mind as well, or you can put it in the comment section, right? But we need to understand that when it comes to the habits that we engage that are actually draining our finances, that draining our financial energy rather, they are deeply ingrained. They more or less have become like a way of life for us. And so it's so difficult to even notice that, it's a problem. Because as much as we are concerned, we think, oh, yeah, I'm just in the right, I'm doing the right thing. It's a noble thing, that I'm doing. And so you can't fault it. And so, because for me, it took a level of financial, literacy, financial education to get to that point where I had to identify those things that even though I considered them as, oh, it's a noble act, but I actually saw that there was nothing noble about some of those habits that I had back then. And so the very first one that I'll be talking about is uncultured spending habits, or you can say unconscious spending habits, unconscious spending habits. And I'm not going to actually dwell on the unconscious spending habits, and reason being that we have a video that we did several weeks ago on finding your money in the waste, where we're talking about ways that we're wasting financial resources. So you want to do well to go back to that video. You want to do well to go back to that video so that you'll be able to look at because there's so much that we talked about in that video. We elaborated so much about what the unconscious spending habits are, and what are the ways that you can actually curb them. So we'll put the link in the description so that you'll be able to go and watch the video for the details. And so unconscious spending habits, unconscious, you have to be able to curb it. And what are some of the things that come in that category? We have subscription overload. There are people that are on Prime, they're on Amazon, they're on Netflix, they're on Showmax. And then I'm wondering, like, what are you doing with all of those? What are you doing with all of those? And then for some people, it might be beat purchases where you could have bought things in bulk, and then you have saved some, few naira or few dollars if you don't live, in Nigeria where I reside. And so you have to be able to bring those, you have to be able to curb those impulsive, spending habits, those unconscious spending habits. You have to be able to curb them. And so the next one that I would like to talk about is lack of future planning. Lack of future planning. Lack of future planning. And what are the categories that actually come under lack of future planning? We have lack of budgeting. Like, I don't know, how do people even live without budgeting, without having a budget for your monthly expenses, your quarterly expenses, your maybe annual expenses, or however the case may be for you? How are people, doing it without, planning for the future? Without planning for the future. It's very important for us to commit to future planning. Commit to future planning. You need to be able to know, okay, so what is my money going into? What are the things that, at the beginning of the month, for instance, what are the things that I had already budgeted that money was going to go into? Then at the end of the month, being able to also evaluate, that budget to see, oh, so the things that I wanted my money to flow into, did they flow into those things? And if they didn't, why? And are there things that you didn't budget for that money flew into? That money flowed into rather, that money flowed into, and then identify what are those things. And then you also come to a place where you're also like, okay, so what am I going to do going forward to ensure that money does not flow into those things that are not my needs? And so once you have been able to do that, so the next month you ensure that money flows into what it should flow into. And whatever is it that is not something that you really need, you are able to cut it off. So lack of future planning. And there are people under that category of lack of future planning too. We also have situation where there is a lack of long-term financial goal. Long-term financial goal. And when there's no plan for long-term long-term financial goal, what happens is eventually you miss out on opportunities that you'll have, or benefit that you'll have harvested from compounding. Some things that you'll have benefited from compounding, you miss out on it just because you did not, you did not have a long-term financial goal. And so with that long-term financial goal, it means that every time all of the financial decisions that you'll be doing will be more of impromptu. You have to get to the end of the road before you decide, oh, this is what I'm going to do, which can put a significant financial strain on us. So you want to ensure that you deal with lack of future planning. And how do you deal with that? By ensuring that there is a plan in place for your finances. There is a plan in place for your finances. As you're planning for short term, you're also making plans for mid-term or medium term, and you're also making plan for the long term. And so, because we also have quite a number of people, they don't even plan for retirement. They are of the opinion that when we get to the road, we'll cross. When we get to that bridge, we will figure out what to do. You don't have to live like that. And so, to be able to be in that place where you are not constantly drained financially, you want to ensure that you commit to future planning. You want to commit to future planning. And the other one that I would like to also talk about, which I'll really dwell on for the course of this conversation, is the one I call uncultured generosity. Uncultured generosity. And this is when people, say, oh, I'm doing a noble act. This is when people say, oh, I'm just rendering help. I'm just rendering, assistance. I've seen people, going through financial difficulty, and yet they are still trying to help someone else. And this is not to say that it's bad to help people out, you know, to help people out financially. I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is, even in generosity, it has to be cultured. Generosity has to be cultured. There was a particular story that made the rounds, I think that was last year, of a 200 or 300 level student in one of the universities in the West that went to borrow money from a loan app. And guess what the money was for? The money was to pay a friend's school fees. And one of the things that came to my mind was, okay, so why is she borrowing on behalf of her friend, right? Is it that um, her school friend cannot afford to go and do that? At least you have paid your own school fees. Why are you having to borrow school fees for your friend? Can't your friend borrow the school fees by herself? Because eventually this girl in question was a pathetic, situation, because eventually she committed suicide by the time the loan apps people started with her. And you know how those people can be. I've never gotten money from a loan app before, but I know that I've gotten several calls from them asking, oh, do you know Lagbaja? Do you know Tamedu? The person borrowed this, the person borrowed that, if you know the person. So I know how that they can deal, with people's mental health, and how they can drive people to depression and becoming suicidal and all of that. But I just kept, trying to understand why someone will go and borrow money on behalf of someone. As much as you want to help someone, if you're not in a position to render that help, like you don't have that money to help that person with, how are you going to go and borrow money on behalf of someone when they could have gone to borrow the money themselves? When they could have gone to borrow the money themselves. Why are you borrowing money on behalf of people? And there's a thin line between helping people and enabling people. There is a thin line between helping people and enabling people. There are many people who are not able to rise, to their full capacity financially because there's someone who is enabling them. There's someone that they're always running to. And just because, some of us want to be seen as nice, want to be seen as, oh, she's a very kind person, oh, he's a very understanding person, we don't even know how to say no. And I'm dwelling on this particular one because we live in Africa, and there's such a thing as black tax in Africa. There is such a thing as tax, black tax in Africa. There is hardly any African person, or maybe let me speak for Nigerians, any Nigerian person that you meet that is not committed to someone else outside their immediate and extended family members. So black tax is a thing where you are responsible for several other people outside of immediate family and extended family members. Am I saying not to help? No, I'm not saying not to help. But even in helping, we must be very discerning. Even in helping, we must be able to set boundaries. Even in helping, we must be able to set clear expectations. I remember, I think it was about maybe 2 months ago that I went to the market, and so there was this man that came to me and said, oh, he needed to eat and all of that. And, I looked at him and I saw that everything about him was complete. He wasn't incapacitated physically in any way. And mentally, from the way he was talking, it was also good. And the first thing that came to my mind is, so why is this person begging when you could have, gone to work and earn something that at least put food in your mouth? But I'm just like, oh, let me not overthink it. It might just be one of those cases and all of that. We all know how Nigeria is and all. And so I gave him money, like, okay, take. You can go and get something for yourself to eat. And that was it. Fast forward to yesterday, I was at the market again, 2 months after. I was at the market again. And then I saw this man. I was trying to get something, and then somebody was behind me, like, oh, I'm not eating. Please, can you help me out? And all of that. And then I looked back, lo and behold, it was the same man. And as in, I was just shocked. Like, how are you an able-bodied man? What's it is called? Is he able-bodied? Yes, how are you an able-bodied man? And then all you can do is beg to eat. You can't even walk to put food in your mouth. And he begged and begged and begged, but I didn't answer him. I just kept going. Because we need to understand, and also be able to draw the line, between helping and enabling. We need to understand when our help is no longer helping, but encouraging idleness. Because a lot of times, instead of setting clear expectations, instead of putting boundaries in place, we just want to, just go ahead and help. And some do it, I don't know, maybe for some reason to just, feel like, I'm in a capacity to be helping others. I don't know, maybe to feel good or to be able to maybe brag about it, that, oh, I'm also in that, I'm in a position where I'm helping others. But you must be able to understand, especially when you're also in a financial situation that does not permit you at that point in time to be of help. Everything does not have to be financial support. It can be encouragement. And so there's need for you to understand the season that you're in financially, to know at this point in time, can I be of help? Because some people have so helped people to their own detriment. And every time, especially, when people are in a financial situation and then they are trying to still render financial assistance to the detriment of their own financial, situation. Like, I don't know, I don't understand. It's always the oxygen mask principle in the airplane that comes to my mind. And what's the principle? It says, in case of emergency, put your own oxygen mask first. Put your own oxygen mask on first. You have the responsibility to put your own oxygen mask on first. And why is that? Because if you run out of oxygen, you can't help anyone else. So they are saying, even if it's your child that is sitting beside you, or your mother, or your father, that they don't care who is sitting beside you. If there's an emergency, use your oxygen mask first before you decide to want to go and help somebody else put on theirs. And I will usually say, why is it that somebody is trying to help another person financially when your own finances is on financial, is on life support. Why are you trying to help somebody else when your own finances is on life support? You can't even get your finances together, but you want to be there for someone else. That there's nothing noble about that. There is nothing noble about being in a financial difficulty and then you are still trying by all means, including having to go and borrow on behalf of someone. Except it's a life and death situation. Except it's a life and death situation where, oh, okay, someone is in the hospital and really, have to be there for them. Because one thing about the people that are always coming with one need or the other, and they are telling you, oh, if you don't do this, no one else can do it, and all of that, is they will keep coming. And if you're already in that situation, you see that there's no end to their request. Today they will come, and they will send my children out of school. It's only you that can actually help right now. For them not to be sent out of school, you help. Then they will come again. Hey, my landlord is about to have an emergency. My landlord gave me 1 week. But these same people, they knew 3 months and 6 months before their rent expired that my rent is expiring. It's not like it's an emergency. You have a 1 year notice. You have a 1 year notice at least to prepare for your rent. 3 months to expiration of that rent, you already know that the way it's going, I might not be able to raise my rent to what I'm currently doing, right? And look for other ways, to raise money before that time. But they wait till 1 week too, or even 3 days too, or even to the point where they are telling you, oh, in fact, my landlord has thrown my things outside. Please, even you can sell this and all of that. It doesn't speak to financial responsibility. It doesn't show financial responsibility in any way. And as long as you continue to enable people, you are also, robbing them, of the you're also robbing them of the things that they should have been doing for themselves. Because when people are in financial difficulty and they get to that point where nobody is actually coming to their aid, they will come to their own aid. And one thing that someone said, one of my mentors said, is you are the first participant in your own rescue. And this was how many years ago that I heard that? 7 years ago. It's stuck in my brain. It's stuck. You are the first participant in your own rescue. You have no responsibility, or you shouldn't have any responsibility towards people who are not willing to participate in their own rescue. You have no responsibility towards people who are not willing to participate in their own rescue. You have your own life to live. They have their own life to live. They are not making attempts, to rescue themselves. They should be the first participants. How I know someone that truly wants to be helped is by what are you already doing for yourself. Before you come and tell me, oh, I need 100K. How much have you raised from that 100K? How much have you raised from that 100K? So even in generosity, you must set expectations that are clear. Ask questions. Ask questions. And if you're in a financial difficulty, no is an answer too. And it's okay to say no. It doesn't make you a bad person. It doesn't make you a bad person, because the truth is, as much as you're always there for people, even when it's financially, difficult for you, it's not sustainable. It's not sustainable. Eventually, you also bring yourself to a position where you're going to be needing the help you are giving them. There is a Yoruba adage that says, one rich person amongst 20 people is still a poor person. One rich person amongst 20 people is still amongst 20 poor people is still a poor person. Like you are the only rich person, everybody comes to you. It's only a matter of time. You come to their level. It's only a matter of time. You come to their level. So there are some people that you're giving financial assistance to right now that you have to have a conversation with. You have to call them and have a conversation. And begin to, instead of giving them fish, there's also, is it a Yoruba saying? I'm not sure now. Yeah, or an English adage that instead of giving fish to people, teach them how to fish. And so instead of, oh, I need this, I need that, begin to introduce them to opportunities. Begin to tell them, oh, I think you need to commit, I think you need to commit to, financial literacy. Because some of the people that you're helping, they don't even have the capacity, as it has to do with, understanding how money works, to even manage the money that you're giving them. So maybe the next time that you give them that money, you want to have a conversation before you hand out that money to them about money management. You want to have conversation about financial literacy. You want to maybe buy a book for them to change their money habits, to change their money mindset, to reprogram their money mindset. Because if you truly want to help people, you want to be sure that the help that you're rendering to them is the kind of help that is sustainable, both for them and for yourself. Somebody comes the first time, oh, I need this today, you are there. He comes another time, I need this today, you're there. The next time, you should sit the person down and have certain conversations with them. I remember many years ago, there was this person on my street that got impregnated by her boyfriend. And I saw that she had decided she wanted to keep the pregnancy. And I was like, let me just encourage this person by being there in any way that I can at the time. Yes, she has made a mistake, but at least that she has decided that she wants to keep the pregnancy is a noble act. Other girls her age would have maybe gone for abortion and all of that. And so I had a conversation with her. Let me know, however, I can support you through this period and all of that. And I was supporting her. And I remember that the day that she had a baby, the day that she had a baby, she called me. I wasn't even in the country, and she was like, "Oh, this, and that. I'm at the hospital right now. I can't afford delivery bills and all." I'm like, "Okay, so how much is it?" So she sent me the amount that she was to pay, to leave the hospital and all of that. And I even sent her an amount that was over the delivery bills so that at least she's able to take care of some other expenses. That was a noble thing to do. It was a noble thing to do. But fast forward to like 2 years after, she sent me a message, and the message was, "Oh, at the hospital, I want to deliver my second baby." And at that point, I'm like, all those complex emotions. No, I'm like, what is this? Okay, so I'm even like, okay, oh, you're in the hospital, blah, blah, blah. Okay, so how much are we talking about? She sent me the bill for the hospital bill. And by the time I looked at it, it was outrageous because 2 weeks before, I had someone that delivered at the hospital and even went through cesarean session. The amount that she sent to me was even more. She had the normal delivery, but the amount that she sent to me was even more than the amount, because I had to call the person that this cesarean session, the same hospital. How much did you? And when the person told her, I'm like, see what is happening. No, like, I want to help you, like for the second time, but now you also want to take advantage of me. And that is how funny that people can be. That's how funny people can be. Like, you're wanting help, and then you are still inflating the price. You know how people will say, "Oh, I want to pay for my children's school fees," and maybe the children's school fees is even maybe 50K, and they tell you, "Oh, the moment you ask, before you hear it, like before you know it, they've sent 150K to you." And so being able to read between the lines, to know people that really need your help and people that are taking advantage of you, is very important, because there's no point in the help that you're rendering to people financially that leaves you devastated, that leaves you with resentment, that leaves you feeling bitter. Because some people are so, sold out to being there for others financially, that even when it matters for you to be there for yourself financially, you can no longer be there. It is not wise. It is not wise. So, of all the things I have said so far, if this last one is the only one that you remember, then I would have done a good job. Please, let's, when it comes to generosity, let's be cultured. Let's be cultured. That way, we are helping them. That way, we are helping them to help ourselves. You're helping them to help you. Because once they are able to understand, so it's not every time that somebody comes like, "Oh, I'm always have a conversation," like I said earlier. And like, okay, so what are some of the opportunities that you have tried to take advantage of? What are some of the things that you have done to come out of this financial situation so that you don't have to come next month? It might not be even come to me, because some of these people, they have a list of people they go to. They have a list of people like, oh, okay, this month I'll go to Mr. A. Oh, next month I'll go to this person. Let me give this person a breathing space. And that's the way they are living their lives. But if you want to help them, you want to make sure that you're having conversation to really understand what is the root of their financial problem. And if there's any advice that you can give them, give them. And if you don't have advice for them, you can also link them with financial clinic. We are here for a reason. And so if they are hearing what you're hearing, they will also be able to make informed decisions about their finances. I'm already, how many seconds past time? 27. Yeah, I'm some seconds past time. And this is where we draw the curtain at the financial clinic today, right? And I hope that you have picked one or two things that you're going to use, right? Because it's not just enough for you to come here and hear what we have to say at the financial clinic. The magic happens in the implementation, it happens in the execution. And I just want to encourage everyone on the call and those that are going to be watching the video later, please, please reclaim your financial energy. Reclaim your financial energy. And of course, we have talked about the things that are draining your financial energy. Please make sure that you curb them. Make sure that you put measures in place. Like I have said, set boundaries, set clear expectations, and ensure that you are helping them. I mean, the people that are coming to you for financial assistance, you are helping them by educating them, and you are also helping yourself. That way, it is sustainable. Until we see again next week, it's a bye bye.